The month of Lanaion, evil days, ox flares, all of them avoided, and the frosts that are deadly upon the earth when Boreas blows, which stirs up the broad sea through horse racing, Thrace when it blows upon it, and the earth and the forest bellow. It falls upon many lofty leafed oaks and sturdy firs in the mountains, dales, and bends them down to the bounteous earth, and the whole immense forest groans aloud. The wild animals shiver and stick their tails under their genitals, even those whose skin is shadowed by fur. But, chilly as it is, it blows through them all, though their breasts are shaggy, and it goes through the hide of an ox, and this does not stop it, and it blows through the long-haired goat, but not at all through sheep does the force of the wind Boreas blow, for their fleece is plentiful. It makes the old man curved like a wheel, but it does not blow through the soft-skinned maiden who stays at the side of her dear mother inside the house, still ignorant of the works of golden Aphrodite. After washing her tender skin well and anointing herself richly with oil, she lies down in the innermost recess inside the house on a winter day. Nope. On a wintry day, when the boneless one gnaws its foot in its fireless house and dismal abodes, for the sun does not show it a range land towards which it can set out, but instead roams to the dark men's people and city, and shines more tardily for all the Greeks. And that is when the forest dwellers, horned and hornless alike, gnash their teeth miserably and flee through the wooded thickets, carrying in their spirit only for searching for shelter and finding sturdy hiding places down in the hollow of a stone. That is when they avoid the white snow and stalk about like a three-footed mortal, whose back is broken and whose head looks down to the ground. And that is when you should put on a defense for your skin, as I bid you, a soft cloak and a tunic that reaches your feet. Wind plenty of woof and a puny warp, but this around you, so that your hairs do not tremble nor stand up straight shivering along your body. Bind around your feet well-fitting boots from the leather of a slaughtered ox, padded inside with felt when the seasonable cold comes. Stitch the skins of newly born kids together with their sinew of an ox, so that you can put it around your back as protection against the rain. Wear a well-made felt cap upon your head, so that you do not get your ears wet. From the dawn is chilly when Boreas falls still, and a dawn mist is stretched out upon the earth from the starry sky onto the wheat-bearing works of the blessed ones. Excuse me. A mist which is drawn up from ever-flowing rivers and is raised up on high above the earth by a blast of wind, and sometimes it rains towards evening, at other times it blows. Then Thracian Boreas drives thick clouds in rout. Forestall him, finish your work, and get home ahead of him, lest a shadowy cloud from heaven cover you round and make your skin wet and drench your clothes. Avoid this, for this is the most difficult month, wintry, difficult for livestock and difficult for human beings. At this time give half the usual rations to the oxen, but more to a man, for the long nights are a help. Bear these things in mind and balance the nights and days until the end of the year, when Earth, mother of all, brings forth her various fruit once again. When Zeus has completed 60 wintry days after the solstice, the star Arcturus is first seen rising, shining brightly just at dusk, leaving behind the holy stream of Oceanus. After this, Pandion's daughter, the dawn-lamenting swallow, rises in the light for human beings, and the spring begins anew. Forestall her, prune the vines first, for that way it is better. But when the house carrier climbs up from the ground on the plants, fleeing the Pleiades, there is no longer any digging for vines. Sharpen the scythes and rouse your slaves. Avoid shadowy seats and sleeping until dawn in the harvest season. When the sun withers the skin, make haste at that time and carry home the crops, getting up at sunrise so that your means of life will be sufficient. For dawn claims as its portion a third of the work. Dawn gives you a head start on the road, gives you a head start on your work too. Dawn, which when it shows itself sets many men on their way and puts the yoke on many oxen. When the golden thistle blooms and the chirping cicada sitting in a tree incessantly pours out its clear-sounding song from under its wings in the season of toilsome summer, at that time goats are fattest and wine is best and women are most lascivious. I can't say that word. Lascivious, and men are weakest, for Sirius parches their head and knees and their skin is dry from the heat. At that time let there be a rock shadow and Bibline wine, bread made with milk, cheese from goats that are just drying up, and the meat of a forest grazing cow that has not yet calved, and of newly born kids. Drink some gleaming wine, too, sitting in the shade when you have eaten to your heart's content with your face turned towards fresh blowing Zephyrus. First pour 3 portions from the water of an ever-flowing spring, running and unmuddied, then put in a 4th part of wine. Urge your slaves to winnow Demeter's holy grain when Orion's strength first shows itself in a well-aired place and on a well-rolled threshing floor. Bring it in properly with a measure in storage vessels. When you have laid up all the means of life well prepared inside your house, then I bid you turn your hired man out of your house and look for a serving girl without her own child, for a serving girl with a baby under her flank is a difficult thing, and get a jagged-toothed dog. Do not be sparing with its food, lest some day sleeping man steal your things from you. Bring in fodder and sweeping, so that there is plenty for the oxen and mules. Then let the slaves relax their knees and unyoke the pair of oxen. When Orion and Sirius come into the middle of the sky and rosy-fingered dawn sees Arcturus, then Perseus pluck off all the grapes and take them home. Set them out in the sun for 10 days and 10 nights, then cover them up in the shade for 5. And on the 6th day draw out the gift of much cheering, Dionysus, into storage vessels. When the Pleiades and Hades, or Hyades, and the strength of Orion set, that is the time to be mindful of plowing in good season. May the whole year be well fitting in the earth. Let me see. But if desire for storm-tossed seafaring seize you, when the Pleiades, fleeing Orion's mighty strength, fall into the murky sea, at that time blasts of all sorts of winds rage. Do not keep your boat any longer in the wine-dark sea at that time, but work the earth, mindful as I bid you. Draw up your boat onto the land and prop it up with stones surrounding it on all sides, so that they can resist the strength of the winds that blow moist, and draw out the bilge plug, so that Zeus's ring does not rot it. Lay up all the gear well prepared in your house after you have folded the sea-crossing boat's wings in good order, and hang up the well-worked rudder above the smoke. You yourself wait until the sailing season arrives, and then drag your swift boat down to the sea, arrange the cargo in it, and get it ready so that you can bring the prophet home, just as my father and yours, Perseus, you great fool, used to sail in boats, deprived as he was of fine means of life. Once he came here, too, after he had crossed over a big sea, leaving behind a Aeolian Kyme in a black boat, fleeing not wealth nor riches nor prosperity, but evil poverty, which Zeus gives to men. And he settled near Helicon in a wretched village, Escara, evil in winter, distressful in summer, not ever fine. As for you, Perseus, be mindful of all kinds of work in good season, but above all regarding seafaring. Praise a small boat, but place your load in a big one, for the cargo will be bigger and your profit will be bigger, profit on profit, if the winds hold back their evil blasts. If you turn your foolish spirit to commerce and decide to flee debts and joyless hunger, I shall show you the measures of the much roaring sea. I, who have no expertise at all in either seafaring or boats, for never yet did I sail the broad sea in a boat, except to Euboea from Ulyss, where once the Achaeans, waiting through the winter, gathered together a great host to sail from holy Greece to Troy with its beautiful women. There I myself crossed over into Calliskis for the games of valorous Amphidamas. The great-hearted man's sons had announced and established many prizes, and there I declare I gained victory with a hymn and carried off a tripod with handles. This I dedicated to the Heliconian muses, where they first set me upon the path of clear-sounding song. This is as much experience of many bolted ships as I have acquired, yet even so I speak forth the mind of ages holding Zeus, for the muses taught me to sing in inconceivable hymns.